Hello from the California Lawyers Association meeting 2018 in San Diego, California. I'm Laurence Colletti.
Lauren Powe.
And we're on the road with Legal Talk Network. And we're back. I have Lauren Powe joining us today. She's the outgoing chair of the California Young Lawyers Association. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. My name, as you just said, is Lauren Powe. I am the outgoing chair of the California Young Lawyers Association, also known as CYLA. I've been with the organization since 2015, and I am an attorney with the DOJ. I work out of the Oakland office. I'm in the Employment and Administrative Mandate section. I've only been there since March, so I'm still learning.
Excellent, excellent. So how long are you allowed to be with the CYLA?
CYLA just changed their rules, and we are now welcoming all lawyers within their first 8 years of practice. So you just have to be a lawyer and practicing for less than 8 years.
So a common theme, so this is the first annual meeting for the newly formed California Lawyers Association. So there's been a bit of a transition as the regulatory body of the State Bar of California separated from the sections. And so you guys are part of those sections. And so how is the transition going so far?
It's been a little bumpy for CYLA. We did not know where we were going to land when the section separation happened. We were originally a regulatory body of the State Bar. And so when the sections were very generous and wanted to bring us along, we said, yes, sure. So since January, we've been trying to slowly get up and running and connect with our memberships. And as I mentioned, before, our criteria for being a member of CYLA changed. And so in order to get our list, our membership, we had to contact the State Bar, and it took a little while for them to sign off on letting us contact our members. So we only began contacting our members in July.
So my understanding is so that basically when somebody passes the bar at the California Bar, and I guess they have to be new to practice, so if they have to be within the first 8 years of practice, they're automatically enrolled in the CYLA?
Correct. So CLA is a paid organization. You pay into joining a particular section, a particular area of law. CYLA is usually more general, and you do not have to pay a membership due at this time. So you are just automatically a member, and we offer you e-news to kind of geared towards young attorneys. We are creating webinars that are geared towards young attorneys. We are creating CLEs that are geared towards young attorneys. We are trying to coordinate with the sections to make sure that they hit all of the different section areas, family law, workers' comp, litigation, so that you're having people who are so new to the practice getting stuff that will help them.
So roughly how many members do you have in the CYLA?
So currently we have about 50,000 members, although I don't think they all know that they're members.
I gotcha. Well, let's get into some of those programs and member benefits. And you talked a little bit about the e-news, you talked about the webinars and the CLE opportunities, but let's talk about those, I guess, one at a time. So the e-news publication, this is something that's available to members, and what's that all about?
So e-news are a publication from the CYLA board. We solicit people to submit articles, various topics that are interesting and helpful to young attorneys. We try to get it out at least 4 times a year. For the past couple of years, it's been about 2 times a year. And one of the topics is top things every young attorney needs to know. Another one might be if you're interested in becoming a judge, what do you need to know to become a judge? So things that would impact and interest young attorneys is what we try to tailor the e-news to be.
So who writes the articles?
Mostly the board members.
Okay.
But we also, if you're interested, if you're a young attorney and you're interested in getting published, this is another opportunity to do so. Just contact CYLA through CLA.
See, it's hard to say. It's not just me, right? CYLA is hard to say.
It is. It's a little bit of a tongue twister, but we've had our name for 25 years.
Okay. Well, do you guys invite articles from non-young or non-CYLA members, like some older attorneys, say, or more experienced attorneys? They might have something to say. Hey, guys, back when I was young, here's something I wish I knew. Do you guys offer writing opportunities for publication within the e-news?
Yes, we do. Someone offered to publish an article that they had written a number of years ago that they thought was still relevant. My communications committee thought it was as well, and so they've been repackaging it, and it should be coming out soon.
Okay, well, let's talk about some of those CLEs. So obviously, continuing legal education credits for membership. Obviously, you can use those against what the requirement for the State Bar of California requires. But what type of topics do you guys, I mean, when it comes to young lawyers, what are they wanting? What are they thirsty for in the CLE?
A variety of things. We are definitely trying to do a lot of 101 so that people who are new to practice, who are really new to practice, don't feel dumb. They have a resource that they can access that will help them answer those very early on questions about family law or workers' comp. And then one of the ones we actually are, sorry, that's why it came to mind, is we are working on a family law structure fees for a young attorney who's trying to set up their own practice. What do they need to keep in mind? What sort of factors are relevant to starting up a fee sharing or just some sort of agreement that you might not have done because you're brand new? So those are some of the things we're looking at.
And you were talking about webinars, and so those are available online. Are those interactive? Do you guys do live streaming kind of, video to video or Skype to Skype, or how does that work?
You can do either. It depends on if you're having one or more speakers. And we have only been successful this year thus far doing one. I think we have another 2 coming down the line. We did it in conjunction with the International Law Society, and we did a lunchtime performance or webinar, and you could access it, and you can still download it now.
I think that was fair performance. Those webinars. When you're on there, you have to perform. Do you remember who was? Do you remember who was presenting?
I don't. My team knows.
Oh,
I
that's
can get
fair
that
enough.
information.
That's absolutely fair. That's absolutely fair. So obviously you're the outgoing chair, and
Yes.
you've got someone coming in behind to replace you.
Yes.
And who is that lucky individual?
That lucky individual is Martin Ben. He is located in Palo Alto. He's been on the board for about 2 years, and he has just done a fantastic job, and he stepped up.
So, obviously, there's leadership opportunities here, and just some of the organizations. We travel around and we meet with a lot of different sections and divisions from the various state bars and also the American Bar Association. And there's a lot of succession planning involved. And I would guess that you guys have an executive board that helps with some of this.
So the CYLA board in and of itself is sort of the executive committee for CYLA, the entire organization. And I didn't really mention this before, but when we transitioned not only from the state bar as a regulatory arm of the state bar, where we were supposed to be monitoring CLEs and doing various things that impacted young lawyers, we now are in the process of turning ourselves into what is basically a section akin to a barrister's section of a regular bar association. So in doing so, we sort of had to create a whole new structure. And so now we didn't have a treasurer before. We didn't really have a secretary before. We have a chair and vice chair. And as I sort of hinted off record, Martin was voluntold because he will be on the board for the next year. Our vice chair will be on the board for 2 years. So he will be able to actually complete the succession planning that I have hopefully started.
Now that's a totally new word, voluntold. So can you please share with our audience what that means?
Voluntold is when you are basically asking for a volunteer and then telling them they're doing it.
So there you go, Martin. I'm sure I'll hear this, but tell me a little bit about the networking opportunities associated with the CYLA.
So CYLA is endeavoring to have more social networking in Northern California and Southern California. Next year, we're also going to try and do something in Central California so we don't miss out on the people in the middle. You have those opportunities to network with other CYLA attorneys. We are also going to be doing things in conjunction with the various sections so that not only are you meeting hopefully young attorneys, you're also meeting young attorneys who are practicing in the same area as you. And I always encourage attorneys to attend the larger social networking events, CLA's annual meeting being one of those things, because that's your opportunity to meet people that you can refer cases to once you are growing your practice. It's always good to have referrals and people to talk to.
All right, so Lauren, I'm going to put you on the spot here. I'm going to ask you for 3 separate reasons why people who are currently members of the CYLA should be more active in their membership.
So CYLA is a great organization for young attorneys. So this is your opportunity to grow yourself. You have the opportunity to meet seasoned attorneys who want to help you. That is foremost thing in my mind. It's your ability to be with somebody who will helpfully mentor you throughout your career. Two, you're going to be part of an organization that is throughout the state. I have met attorneys from San Diego I would never have met if I had not joined CYLA. I've met people actually from Alameda County that I would not have met if I hadn't joined this organization. It's just a great way to be able to have your connections throughout the state that you would not normally be able to do. You can't do this with your local bar association. And third, this is just a great opportunity to give back. CYLA is very focused on pro bono. I don't think I mentioned this before, but we give out the Jack Berman Award, which was created in, I think, 1993 or 1992, don't quote me, to recognize young attorneys who gave back. And we were able to give an award to this young woman who has dedicated 10 years of her life to pro bono work. And this is an organization that will help recognize the fact that you are a young attorney, you don't have a lot of time, and yet you took the opportunity to give back to your community, and that is just awesome.
So I know we're running short on time, and I know you got to get going, but before we close it out, if our listeners, somebody out there wants to reach you, get a hold of the CYLA, how can they find you?
They can find us on Twitter at CLA-CYLA, _CYLA. We are also on Facebook. You can definitely find us on Facebook. And if you go to the CLA website, there is a link to CYLA there as well. There you'll find the information about the incoming chair, and you can connect to other people. And if you're interested in joining the CYLA board, we're always interested in getting people involved.
Well, we've reached the end of the road for today's episode, but I want to thank our guest, Lauren Powe, for joining us today, and also our listeners, you, all of you out there, for tuning in. And if you like what you heard today, please find us and rate us in Apple Podcasts. We'll see you next time for another episode of On the Road with Legal Talk Network.
If you'd like more information about what you've heard today, please visit LegalTalkNetwork.com. Subscribe via iTunes and RSS. Find us on Twitter and Facebook, or download our free Legal Talk Network app in Google Play and iTunes. The views expressed by the participants of this program are their own and do not represent the views of, nor are they endorsed by, Legal Talk Network, its officers, directors, employees, agents, representatives, shareholders, and subsidiaries. None of the content should be considered legal advice. As always, consult a lawyer.